Hi, welcome back to my channel, Plan with KP. I'm Kimmy. Today we are going to go over like 85% of my planner lineup for 2024. There's a couple things I'm still considering, but at this point in time, I'm going to call them negligible. I've got 99% of it, which is, well, I guess, a higher percentage than 85. Either way, whatever. We've got it figured out for the most part. This right here in the corner is my Halloween costume. I made myself a witch hat, and this is the only spot I had that it fit until I figure out how to throw this into storage. So this is my hat. And then this is the stack for next year. Also off in the side, you may or may not be able to see, is kind of my current planner system for like the second half of 2023. And that plays a lot into how this was decided. So I figure we'll walk you through that and kind of transition into why I chose this. I don't know. There's going to be probably a lot of blurring going on for this planner for 2023, strictly because there's a lot of personal information in here and I just can't have that all over the internet. So excuse the blurring, but that's kind of where we're at. So my monthlies, you can see, are on the rather light side, and that's because I basically gave up this system, not entirely, but a decent amount comparatively to the first half of the year. So this is sparse considering what my actual November looks like, which is this madness right here. So this is my current November versus November back in July when I had switched over at that point. And what I did is I went through and I basically, there were a few pages in the beginning that I used. I've just been keeping them paper clipped so I can get to it. But I hand drew out my monthlies because I didn't know if the system would work for me, but it's kind of what I was leaning towards at that point in time. So when July came around, I was in like a groove of things, I guess you could say. And by that, I mean essentially neglecting my planner. I was going through life and there wasn't anything major that I needed to necessarily pay attention to. There were a couple of little things, but nothing too crazy. So I was not referencing my big Erin Condren like I should have been. It was basically sitting closed week in and week out, and it was not being utilized to manage things that needed to be managed. The biggest reason I switched was because we had I think 2 months in a row of Kimmy forgetting to pay her credit card bills until I think the day after they were due. And usually we are on top of that, and it's not like we couldn't afford it. It was just Kimmy was not paying attention to the date and therefore did not get around to it. And so because of that, we had late charges, which, happens to everyone, but we try and minimize that to be, responsible. And so that was the biggest indicator to me that things had to change. So what happened at that point is I set up this little guy so I could take it on the go with me, mostly to work because I didn't do that much at that time, but this accounted for anything I was scheduling out. And then the big one, I would set up my weeklies, and this is not not filled in for the most part because this is kind of like new upcoming weeks. So this is the current week. This is Halloween. So I've got my appointments listed in here. I've got my work schedule. We've got other obligations, family related. I've got my running to-do list. So this is the sample, I guess I have to show you. Basically showing that I would do my week and still set it up the same, but this would then stay open on my nightstand. So every morning when I got up, it was there ready to go, ready to reference to have the big things so that I wouldn't forget things like paying rent on the 1st. And then this little one, same thing, was travel friendly, so I was able to take that to work with me as needed. The setup for this, hopefully even if it's blurry, you can still see colors. So this like tannish brown color is anyone else. So birthdays, anniversaries, if I had a coworker taking some time off, things like that went in this funny brown color. Anything related to myself is pink. My husband is blue. Grandma was purple. And then you probably won't be able to see it, but I did have a couple of notes in pen, kind of pre-planning bigger tasks that would basically use up a day's worth of time. This sticky note right here is an address and a phone number for the appointment here for my husband. Up here in the corner is just the month and the year. These pages are pretty smudgy because I did them with like an inky, I think I did the G2 size 10. And so I've got, thick lines for my grid and my numbers, but it did mean that I have quite a bit of smearing as we go through this. Yellow is for deadlines. I've got same thing, phone numbers and names of people that were associated with appointments kind of earlier in the week. I've got notes next to the appointments if there's anything I needed to bring with me. I have lots of post-it notes. I've been trying to pull them off to the side. Up here, I've got phone numbers for some hospitals because there was a surgery going on with a family member. And you can see, like, as we go on, it gets worse and worse and worse. So I've got black writing and blue writing, and then a name, and then more black writing and more blue writing and more black writing. And these are all different locations for appointments going on in the mix of things. I was helping coordinate surgery for my mom, and so originally I had her as purple, and then I realized that grandma was purple, so I made her this like grayish color. It's a mess because I like double colored over it. Same thing, had notes about the surgery, and so it just, I don't know, life exploded. And there's no real explanation. I mean, there is an explanation. You guys don't need to know the explanation, but there was only so much I could do to manage it. So where I'm at right now is I've got extra responsibilities that I'm trying to take on and help care both, for family and things like that. So the schedule has gotten absolutely insane. And this system played a role in kind of what my thoughts were for next year. Okay, I think that's like the basis of it. The second portion of this planner, I guess I should show you. So there's next month. It's not looking too bad. And then this is a appointment reminder card for my husband. And then I've got just a whole bunch of important dates for next year, mostly appointments that have already been scheduled, and a couple of other like big things like a graduation, potential trip to Mexico, things like that. This is a list of not so filled in, but should have been filled in, people that want Christmas presents from me. That sounds weird. I offered and they accepted, but I don't have the details. It's weird. We're not going to go into that. These are two different addresses I was using when things kind of blew up and got busier. This is a sticky note that I should have done something with, but I haven't yet. And then it's basically like to-do lists and notes as we kind of go through this. This was a grocery shopping list. I have a list of things to do at grandma's house, people to call, errands, and things to do. More sticky notes. These were phone numbers for my mom's doctors. I've got another to-do list. These are conversations with doctors' offices. These are my grandma's medications. So it's basically just like a random running list. These are pre-op and post-op instructions for surgery. Um, this is another running to-do list, kind of like a brain dump style. I've got measurements up here for our shed and some other miscellaneous things. These are phone calls. The colors are associated with like the tasks, I guess you could say. So this one was about mom's surgery. Mom is gray, so I have that gray. This was about a Dr. Icy, so that one's pink. This is for something else that I'm handling, and that one's color coded green. So for a little while there, I was trying to like keep track of the progression. That way I could say, oh, I called you, a week and a half ago. And it was easier to flip through and see, like screen all the different calls that I've been doing. This one was for bill we got for my husband. This one was for my grandma, trying to get things situated. All of this gray was for my mom. And then same thing, here's an updated to-do list that's separated. I had a whole bunch of calls to do, errands, emails, and a to-do list. And so it just kind of like goes on. You don't need to see all of it. Towards the end here, I've got mostly sticky notes because I've been lazy and I haven't written in it actually in the last few days. I am almost done with this. So I do have another notebook this size. If this is not enough pages to last me through December, it's hard to tell with how crazy things are going, and it's not getting any better. So if that's not enough, I do have a similar notebook size-wise, but a little bit thinner that I'll be using to kind of hold out the rest of the year. I'm not going to show it to you because it has my work logo on the front, and for personal reasons, again, you don't need to see that. It's just a notebook, the end. Kind of transitioning from that into my planner stack for next year. Some of these you have seen before, some of them you have not. So this is my Erin Condren. This is my monthly planner. This is going to be all of my budgeting stuff. This is, you've seen it, I'm sure. It's an Erin Condren. It's all over everything because it's wonderful. I am very, very spotty with my budgeting, but I need to be better. So that's one of the ones on the top of the list. This one you've also seen before. This one I have not used at all this year. I had it in 2022. This is from Growth Roots Co. It's basically just like, basically just a notebook, and you can fill it in yourself. So I bought this to be faith related next year. I'm hoping to have hopefully, some life changes. And so I would like to get more into, a routine with, hopefully getting Sundays off so I can go to church and things like that. So I don't have any like specific plans, but it would be nice if I could use up kind of more of this, if not fully complete that, because that would be nice to be able to say I put that much effort into it. And then these are going to be the primary things for next year. So this is Amanda's Favorites collab with Ashley Shelley, and so these are stickers that came with it. I have no idea whether or not I will actually be using those. I just kind of left them tucked in there. This is a sticker I was toying with maybe throwing on the front here. I really just don't like this placement here. I don't mind so much like the tan color, but like this is weird. Anything and everything that goes over here just feels like awkwardly skewed. And then I know that people do like multiple things on their thing to kind of cover it. But again, who wants 6 squares on their cover? It's just weird. Like, why can't we just center it and then I can get something big and tacky that says Kimmy or 2024 and we can cover it and move on with life. This sticker was actually a gift from one of my doctors. So I'm thinking maybe that, I don't know. I guess back to this one. So this is the collab with Amanda's Favorites, and this is going to be basically the nicer version of this guy. So I have not filled anything in. I was trying to leave it nice so that I can show you for this video, but it's kind of at the point where I'm losing my sanity. I need to start planning. This is going to be color coded the same as this, except I think I'm changing it a little bit for next year because I don't want mom to be gray. That's just weird. That's like a neutral color for random things, not family, I guess. So it's not going to be the exact same color coding system, but it's going to be similar. I have thoughts, I just haven't implemented. But that's kind of what this is. So my monthly is going to be same thing it always has been. It'll be the appointments and the big events, and then any like miscellaneous things there isn't room for notes. And then I want to maybe, hopefully, if things go according to plan, start getting into gardening. And then, of course, I have my reminder every 3 months to change our toothbrush heads, things like that. So that's kind of what I'm anticipating these in between pages for between each of the months. And then last is my Hobonichi, which is kind of a strange one for me. I've never used one before. Obviously, I have thought about what I'm going to be using each of the pages for. I have a monthly tracker in my current planner, which is, not impressive because I am not good at exercising. But I wanted to kind of recreate something like this where I can see at a glance how much I've done. So far for the year, I'm at 28, and my goal was 100. So we are way, way, way behind. But even if I go from 28 this year to 50 or 100 next year, I'm going to call that a win. It's all about progress. So that's what I'm kind of thinking for this page on the left. I may or may not copy over this current year's into here so that I have the side-by-side comparison. I don't know. That seems a little much. I think I'm going to use these ones for like an index. I know people use it for birthdays and things, but I've always put those in my monthly calendar because I think, frankly, if I put it here, I'm going to forget about it. So the plan is to just keep track of any like bigger spreads that I would like on these guys. The monthlies, I'm not sure if I will be using. It kind of depends how things go, whether or not I decide to. I've thought about um, like tracking my work hours or um, like orders. I'm supposed to hopefully be getting tabs in the mail for this planner like anywhere in the month of November. I think it said anywhere from November 2nd to November 28th, which is the whole month. So it's not precise by any means. And I was thinking something like that might be handy to have in here. That way it's not clogging up my days. I don't really know. That's kind of going to be a play it by ear situation. And then we've got the weeks, which I'm not sure if I put a sticky note in here or not. Apparently not. Anyways, it's a 24-hour time schedule. Like I said, I am hoping for some big things changing. I would like to get a new job. And along with that is I don't know what my job is going to be and what my hours are going to be. So I like the 24-hour time slot where I can fill things in accordingly. I also think it just gives a good overview for appointments and the time that I spend driving to go see my grandma, to go pick her up to go to things. And, it's a lot. And so I kind of like the idea of being able to see it all. It also gives me the opportunity to make sure I'm planning time for grocery shopping and cleaning the house and other important things that, frankly, are just so far in the back of my head most of the time these days. And then there are the daily pages. And I've kind of thought about it, but I haven't entirely figured this out. And a lot of it's going to boil down to trial and error. So they give you a monthly page. I have no idea if I'm going to keep a running to-do list here or not. And then there is a page per day. So my thought process was Saturday is kind of the end of the week and I work Sundays. So Saturday is basically my last day to get everything done before the new week starts. Or at least that's how I see it. Because Sunday is a work day for me, at least currently is a work day for me. So that means there's not a lot of time to do additional tasks. I might be able to do a little bit in the morning, I might be able to do a little bit in the afternoon, but if I do as much as I have been on Saturday, then I want to sleep in Sunday morning, and Sundays are my busiest day at work, usually, which means I get home and I am pooped. And again, it boils down to Kimmy doesn't want to do anything. So my thought process was Sunday, because it's mostly work, instead of using it for like a daily schedule, which I'm not going to be using it for, I might just plan for next week. So we'll have, I don't know about meal prep necessarily, but don't forget you've got fruit in the fridge you need to eat. You have, whatever meat thawing, other, miscellaneous things like that, any kind of upcoming reminders. So if I'm trying to think about all the things I need to bring with us to an appointment, something like that, where I can kind of start planning ahead of time to make life easier. Same thing, any sort of meal ideas, then at least we have something readily available to reference, with a little bit of flexibility, I guess you could say. Over here on Saturday would be kind of my finish up the week tasks. So any sort of errands that I'm going to be running, any kind of major cleaning or chores that I want to be done, any admin, paperwork, filing, bills to be paid, whatever that may be. So this is kind of like a fluctuating thought process, but that's where I'm at for my dailies, at least on the Saturday, Sunday front. And then that's it. I don't have any other thoughts apparently for the rest of the week. Just, trying to build a system that's flexible enough, considering I don't know what my future looks like. And I wanted something that had monthly, weekly, and dailies so that I can accommodate whatever it is that will come up. I've been doing a lot of phone calls, and so something like this allows me to fill in my work schedule and whatever tasks I might end up with for that day at work. And then I've got a whole bunch of room to put my notes of people I've called about, whatever paperwork it is that I need to get in order. So I wanted the flexibility. I don't feel any pressure to bring this, at least not currently, and probably not in January. For like midweek when I'm working and not expecting a bunch of calls, I plan on just throwing this in my purse on something like Saturdays and Mondays, which right now have been absolutely insane. This is still relatively small to pick up and take on the go with me. I mean, I'm used to carrying something this size. That does not bother me. And this is significantly smaller. I hope you guys can see that. So this is where we're at. I saw a video earlier today of someone talking about they also got, I think they had an EVAC instead of, the full year. But basically they were like, oh, and someone asked why I didn't get a cover. You know, I feel like I go back and forth at this point. Originally I was like, I don't want a cover because one, that's more bulk. Two, I've never had a cover on, I mean, these are like pre-built in plastic, but it's not like a cover like you would see like people put their happy planners in covers and the traveler's notebooks and like all those things. I'm not a cover kind of person. They look cute, but I don't know about a plasticky cover, and I guess they think they make fabric ones, but I don't want to spend the money on that. Like, this was more than enough to spend on a planner, at least starting out with. I do throw my planner in my purse on a regular basis, but it's not like getting thrown around like an excessive amount, I don't think. Again, I don't know. I've never had one of these. I don't know how it'll hold up. If this does get mangled, I might get one cover to try out. But I don't know, it sounded unappealing. I didn't like the plasticky idea. And with my frustrations of covering this horrible side thing going on, I've been going back and forth. Maybe I should have, and then I could have put some cute paper in it, and I don't know. So we're gonna kind of play it by ear. I think my goal is just kind of like a quick rundown. I don't want to do like a big goals video because I don't know. I started out earlier this year with, the big goals bandwagon, and frankly, I don't want to put any extra stress on me trying to fulfill any of those. I would like to get a new job next year. So that's kind of where this planner comes in. But even though I am unofficially thinking February, Marchish, that's not to say it will actually pan out like that. I am planning to switch fields, so that kind of needs a little bit of effort on my side so I can try and keep up with other people potentially applying for the same jobs that are in the field already. And so transitioning to an entirely different kind of job description, it's gonna take some flux and some growth on my side for sure. Um, well, that's kind of off the rabbit trail. Anyways, goals for this year. I don't want to be anything too major. I will show you kind of my thoughts on that. And this will be the same thing, um, mostly blurred out, but you can see this bottom section. So these are kind of my goals. So I wanted faith, family, and fitness to kind of be the overarching theme. Faith, you saw this guy. See if we can use it enough to fill that up. Fitness, so I may or may not be ordering like a little planner of sorts to help with getting back into exercising. I don't know. That's kind of up in the air, but hopefully next year. And then same thing, just staying on top of keeping track of my family, make sure everything is going as well as it can be. And I'm trying to facilitate, um, you know, their success as best as I can as well. So notes where I wanted to quit my job, and that will hopefully allow time for me to start going to church on Sunday. And then same thing, I can either do sermon notes in this guy or on my dailies to be determined because right now I work Sundays, so church is off the list. I've got my Amanda's favorites, which is on the go, and sort of my big picture. And then my Hobonichi cousin, I was kind of brainstorming things to do in here to kind of plan for, making sure my fitness and my family is up to date, up to par. I don't know how to finish that sentence. It's late. That's where we're at. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will hopefully get a setup video. Um, yeah, it's a mess right now, but catch you guys in the next one. Bye.